Hey guys, we told you we'd be back to once a week, but here we are. It's me, Mims, and as always, it's Grant. Don't
Damn.
have a third guy this week. Yeah, it's because you fucking shunned me last
Boo.
week when you were like, and then there's Mims. So there's that. I told you I wouldn't forget that. So we're back. A lot's happened. Well, kinda. A lot's happened as far as games in the NFL, playoff games, mind you, games with significant fucking implications, as you could imagine.
Very much so. Very much so.
And some people's emotional distress, as Grant would know. But luckily, he did not subject himself to the entire game for his own mental well-being, as would I. I would not do that.
I saw where it was going. I didn't need to see it anymore.
There was no need. I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine having that. I know how excited you were. Just that's what it hurt me almost. Almost. I kind of laughed though. Can't lie.
Do you mind if I speak on it for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. We got our asses kicked, as you all saw, and if you didn't see, that's exactly what happened. They ran all around us, and they threw all around us. Defense didn't show up. Mac didn't play bad at all, really. I wouldn't say any of that was his fault. A lot of the receivers were dropping balls. It was just an ugly game from us all around. And a little tiny part of me thought that might be a possible outcome of that game, but I didn't want that to be the outcome by any means. I didn't expect it to be the outcome. But with that being said, we are kind of we're a new team. We're not necessarily young. I mean, we do have young pieces, but we're not like who's a young, like the fucking Thunder of Oklahoma City in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't have as many draft picks as they do.
Right. I mean, we do have a good bit. But yeah, I mean, with all that being said, we got the 21st pick in the draft, and I think there's going to be some exciting guys on the board for us to take there. I wouldn't be surprised if we traded out of the pick either, because that's just what we do usually. But
y'all need weapons, dude.
I would love to see
perimeter.
I would love to see, a wide receiver one, and we just need like a run stopping linebacker. Honestly, like it's just, I don't know. Like we just got beat because Josh Allen was just so.
He ran for six. He had 6 rushes for 66 yards. His longest rush was for 26 yards. Devin Singletary really hasn't been great all year, but had 16 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns on y'all.
Yeah. Like
Josh Allen played like probably, I'm not going to lie, the best game of his career. I'm not even going to lie.
Best playoff game for sure.
308 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like what? Like you said, Mac didn't play bad. He had 2 turnovers, but it was cold, like inclement weather, like rookie quarterback. You can't really fault him for the circumstances, and Buffalo's defense has been stingy.
I'm not, they like at the end of the day, they are a more like prepared team to make a playoff run than we are at this very moment. But with that being said, I'm not too worried about it because I know we'll be back and we're just going to keep getting better. So, I mean, there's 2 ways that you could look at this. Like, fuck, like that was disappointing. I mean, at the same time, you got to think to yourself, like, this team won what, 8 games last year? Like, this was not a playoff team by any means of the imagination, and we turned it into one, and we'll be back, like I said. So I'm excited. I think we exceeded everyone's expectations as far as even making the playoffs. I don't think anybody expected Mac Jones to take us there. Be the only rookie quarterback in the playoffs, technically, as Jimmy G is the starter for San Francisco.
Yeah, I was about to say, technically.
Yeah.
But this does beg the question, though. Is Josh Allen, we'll touch on this earlier, but we were mentioning it. We made this a couple days ago, but I don't want to step on anything. But is Josh Allen S tier? Is he up
No.
there in that upper echelon of quarterbacks? I mean,
Well, I mean, do we want to just jump in to our?
we'll go into that a little bit later. But I was just mentioning that was on my checklist.
Oh, you know the answer to that. You know my answer. I don't think so. Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. I don't know. I think
he's.
If he can get to the AFC Championship game, I think we can revisit that and possibly update the list.
I agree. I'm willing to revisit if he
can go in there and beat Kansas City in Kansas City. And I don't think he has to go for 21 for 25 with 5 touchdowns again, but if he can be that
level. The thing about that game is everyone on the team has to show up to play. It's not all on Josh Allen. So they could lose and he shows up, plays a good game, and I'm still impressed. Like, we could still revisit this, but yeah. I mean, playoff football is like everybody has to play a good game.
You're not wrong. I agree. But yeah, not quite the game I expected. I bet on the Patriots spread, not money line. Obviously, that was just too much. And I bet the under because it was bad weather. Boy, oh boy, did I get fucked.
I knew the under was a trap.
Yeah, but it was so cold. And
I get it. Yeah.
To be fair, if it was 20-17 instead of 47-17, the under would have hit. So that's my argument there. Y'all should have manned the fuck up. Y'all blew it.
You don't need to tell me, bro. Like, they were just faster than us at the end of the day. Like, they just outran us.
They look like the better team, just flat out. And
I'm willing to admit that they are this season. Like, I'm not.
I know you didn't hear that at the time, but yeah, that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, it is what it is, dude. We don't need to talk about it any further than that. Moving on.
We'll talk about the more exciting games of the weekend. First things first, Cincinnati versus Las Vegas, which kind of went somewhat how I expected. I thought the Bengals would win by maybe like score margin bigger, but they didn't trail at all in this game. It came down to like the last second to force into overtime, but the Bengals got the stop or the interception, I believe.
That was the second best game of the weekend, man.
Oh, absolutely. The Bengals defense really played very well. Derek Carr's 29 for 54. He had 310 yards, but only 1 touchdown, 1 interception thrown. Kept Josh Jacobs out of the end zone. He had 1 big run, but other than that, wasn't really that effective. Joe Burrow looked pretty good. 24 for 34. Jamar Chase is pretty good himself. I think it was a playoff franchise record. 9 catches, 116 yards. CJ Uzomah had a big game. T. Higgins really was kind of quiet, and I didn't expect that, but Tyler Boyd was able to get some burn. We and you both watched this game. Your thoughts?
I definitely expected it to be a close game just because the Raiders have been playing hot down the stretch. They didn't play a bad game. They kept it close. It was a good game to watch. They never led, to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure they never had the lead, but they were always crawling back. It was like, shit, are they gonna come back? Like, at one point it was like within 6. Joe Burrow looks like the truth. He looks like the next guy to fill in for all these greats leaving the game, like Drew Brees. It looks like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert.
Compare him to it.
I mean, it just looks like he's here to stay for a while. I don't know if he intends on playing in Cincinnati for a long time, but if he does, they're going to be a problem in the AFC. That's without question. I mean, I think it's kind of like a Aaron Rodgers Green Bay situation, like just a great talent in a mediocre, incompetent franchise, like just a front office that just can't build the right pieces around. I hope that's not what happens, but
to be fair, they did the opposite of what they've done for Joe Burrow. They've got him all the weapons, just nothing else that can help him. Like, they got him Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon is
And
there.
honestly, I don't know which problem is easier to solve. Like, is it harder to find guys to get up in the trenches and block for you, or is it harder to find weapons? Because I mean, hell, N'Keal Harry, it's been terrible for us, and I was really excited when we drafted him. I was like, shit, like a big deep threat. Like, and by big, I mean like he's a big
about 6'3".
Yeah, like he's like
and
6'3", 4.
hefty boy.
Yeah. Not
like 210.
slow for his size by any means. Like, I was excited. He was fun to watch at Arizona State. But yeah, you never. I mean, I think it's hard to say.
Deebo Samuel, that's crazy.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about that though.
A lot of people pick people over Deebo Samuel and other players like Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Don't feel bad. I just feel like I don't know why. It just can't be that hard to draft players. And if you're not that good, just trade the pick like Bill Belichick does. It's just like, no, I just won't whiff. I'll just trade it. Like Jalen Reagor, I don't know. There are just plenty of players that I feel like got kind of like passed
overhyped or passed
like
up
Clelin Ferrell.
I mean, that happens all the time,
Oliver,
though. You
or
can't
Josh
knock
Allen.
You can't knock us for
Sean.
missing, you know.
I'm not knocking you in general, but I'm just knocking like GMs as a whole, if that makes sense. Like it just can't be that hard.
Goes without saying, I think that scouting talent is harder than everybody perceives it to be. I mean, you think back in like what was it, the 80s, that can't miss lineman. It was like he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with like a ridiculous title. He went to the Packers. I don't remember the guy's name, but before my time, obviously. And he was just not it, dude. Shit happens.
That is true. I mean, I'm sure it's harder than I make it out to be. Don't get me wrong. I'm an idiot. Just putting that out there. But
I only gave that example.
I see so many teams whiff on obvious picks, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. But I mean,
I digress.
Yeah. Who knows?
Moving on from the Bengals and Raiders, let's move on to what was the best game of the weekend. San Francisco and Dallas. Crazy ending.
It was hilarious.
Absolutely insane.
Listen, I want to say about the ending. So what happened was, if you didn't watch the game, they were driving downfield. They run a quarterback draw up the middle with time ticking. It's like by the time Dak slides, it's like what, 5 seconds on the clock, right?
Yeah.
They get to the line. There's about 3 seconds when everybody gets set, but they didn't hand the ball to the ref. Like the center just picked the ball up from where he went down and just like.
To be fair, that ref should have been hauling ass.
Right.
Like,
but at the same time, like you should be looking to get the ball to the ref. And if he's slow on that, then like that's your fault. Like you shouldn't just be I agree. At the same time, the ref did handle it like shittily. Like it was not the prettiest situation. With all it didn't matter though. You ran a quarterback draw up the middle with no
timeouts.
Yeah, right.
Like you need a touchdown.
Like you can.
It's not like you had to go up the clock and get a field
complain
goal.
about the ref all you want, but like that's what you called in that situation, and like you paid for it. You paid.
And like if you're gonna do that, you got to slide earlier than that, like so you can get to the line quicker than that. You shouldn't run 25 yards downfield. You should run 10 yards downfield, run up real quick, clock it. I'm sure that was the plan, and Dak saw a bunch of green grass and was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, like I mean, I think either way it goes, like even if it sways in the Cowboys' favor and they do get a playoff, I think San Francisco wins that game either way. Like I don't know, maybe that's just me, but yeah, that's all I had to say about that game.
Eric is hitting. Your audio is cutting in and out.
It says my internet connection is unstable.
Is it better now?
I mean, if you can hear me, hell yeah.
Yeah, it sounds better. Okay. I was about to say you started.
I'm the one recording, so like it won't fuck up if I'm like cutting in and out for you, but yeah, pretty. Continue on. 49ers Cowboys thoughts.
Debo Samuel's a running back ?
I mean, he can be.
I mean, he had 3 targets at wide receiver and 10 attempts at fucking running back. So, like, what fucking gives? Like, anyways, yeah, the Cowboys are dumbasses. They shouldn't have done that. Mike McCarthy is 18-15 since taking over the Cowboys, which looks rough. Looks real rough.
0-1 in the
Considering all the
playoffs.
talent you got on paper. Yeah, all the talent you got on paper. You got CeeDee Lamb, first-round pick. Looks like the truth, to be honest. Ezekiel Elliott, one of the highest-paid running backs in the league, looks like shit. 12 attempts, 31 yards. His longest run was for 9 yards. Dak Prescott had almost as many rushing yards as him on a third of the attempts. I mean, they really didn't get much of a running game going.
Why would you not trade Zeke at this point? I don't get
Because
that.
what could you okay, so theoretically, what could you get for Zeke?
A second. Literally, like a second would do them wonders. I would not
that's all they could get.
Probably. I mean, unless somebody loves Zeke, I don't know how anybody could.
You don't think anyone's dumb enough to just like fucking
Who do you think would be dumb enough?
I don't know.
Like honestly, I don't think he's worth a lot. Like
neither.
I think like if the Patriots were interested, we can get him for a fourth and like I don't know, some random bench player, development guy. Because I mean, at the end of the day, he is expensive and he has not been performing to his contract. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, you would be taking a fat contract for a question mark of a player at this point.
I also saw someone was yelling about CeeDee Lamb. Some former Cowboy player was yelling about CeeDee Lamb not getting the ball enough. He had 5 targets, man. He only had 1 catch. That might not be on the offensive coordinator. If he's got 5 targets and 1 catch, it's just not his day. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. But Jimmy G didn't score. He had the turnover, but in general didn't play a bad game. If you want to be honest. 16 for 25, 172 yards. Really did what they needed them to do. The defense kind of shouldered the load here. But, I mean, he's just consistently – I mean, it's crazy. He's like an elite game manager, if that makes sense. He will not lose them the game. And do you think the 49ers kind of jumped the gun here on getting Trey Lance?
Did they jump the gun?
Do you think they did? Because Jimmy Garoppolo seems to, when he's healthy and on the field, can get them deep into the playoffs.
I don't think that they needed a quarterback, and I don't think they needed to take a quarterback that high. But, like, with all the hype surrounding that class, I think it would be stupid for them not to – I don't know. Like, what else would they have done with that pick? Like, trade it out? But, like –
they traded up for that pick.
That means they love the guy, and he is young. Like, I don't know. Maybe he pans out to be the truth. And at the same time, like, he is developing under Jimmy, who has shown himself to be a stable quarterback. Like, and at the same time, letting Jimmy play and get him through to the divisional raises his stock. I feel like if you are trying to trade find a trade,
his contract runs out soon, so that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be time to pay him again, or you're just gonna let him walk.
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna let him walk 100%.
You think that's the play? I mean, what if they win the NFC this year? Is that you just let him go?
Yeah. I mean, if
he got you to the Super Bowl twice in 2 years,
you let him go if it's your contract year, yes, because you drafted Trey Lance. That's what you signed yourself up for. You can't just go back on what you did. Like, no.
I mean, you can just trade Trey Lance.
That would be stupid.
I mean, I'm just saying.
That's
a sticky predicament, is what I'm saying.
You're right in this scenario that Trey Lance is not good, and they know that he's not good. And they've seen
not yet.
I mean, only they know. He's at their practices every day.
He's played in 2 games because Jimmy G was hurt. In the first game, he looked and in the second game, he looked improved, but he didn't look great either. Like
He's a young guy. Like, yeah, like he needs to develop and probably,
yeah.
I don't know, get in the weight room a little bit. I'm sure he's not.
Mind you, he played one college football game the year before this, so he really hasn't played football like that much in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's that. So it's really an interesting predicament with that, but it bears some watching because San Francisco, I mean, like I said, might have jumped the gun because if Jimmy G can win the NFC Championship here, and I mean, hell, if he wins a Super Bowl, because this team looked really good. Like the defense looked like it could take them to a Super Bowl. Personally, I don't know if the offense will be able to withstand the task if they play a team with a more competent coaching staff besides the Cowboys. But we'll figure that out next week. All the other games were pretty much blowouts. The Rams dog walked Arizona. So who's the fraud, Kyler or Cliff Kingsbury, in your opinion?
Yes.
You think both?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I do.
Kyler didn't look great. He's missing his best target in DeAndre Hopkins.
Listen, I don't think Kyler's a bad quarterback. I just don't think he's a great quarterback.
What will you design today?
God, I am tired of this. Goddamn ads. God bless. Sorry. No, I also agree. I don't think he's a great quarterback yet. I think he could be.
He's playing the wrong sport. He should be playing center field somewhere.
You think so? You don't think he was thinking that in the middle of the playoff game?
I don't know. It's a question for Kyler, not me.
He's like, I could be just shagging balls out there in Oakland right now. Care in the world.
Shitty place to be, but I mean, at least you'd be good at your job.
Better than getting lit up by Aaron Donald and Von Miller for 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds much more fun, in my opinion. But yeah, no, they just got dogged. Cliff Kingsbury wasn't a winner in college. I don't know why people really thought that would change. I don't really think people, just Cardinals, thought that would change in the NFL. But here he is, regular season dog. They were like, what, 9-0 to start, 8-0 to start? Is that right?
Yeah.
And they finished 11-6. So yeah, they really kind of just fell off the face of the earth once DeAndre Hopkins got hurt, and then here they are. So, the Rams, typical casual. Cam Akers played, which is madness because he tore his Achilles in like July. So
guys have been doing that a lot recently. Just coming off terrible knee injuries, just ridiculous amounts of time. It's kind of crazy.
I remember Achilles injuries used to be like your dunzo, career ending damn near.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, 6 months. It's whatever witch doctor they're going to. This is insane. But yeah, no, the Rams look like the real deal in their first game. Granted, they were playing a weak opponent, in my opinion, in the Cardinals. But I believe, who are the Rams playing? Because they're
playing the Bucks.
The Bucks. That's the matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, we'll touch on that in a minute. The Chiefs retired Big Ben. Big Ben pack in the air. Beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, for everything you've done for us by doing that. Steelers fans rejoice everywhere. Everyone rejoices everywhere. Goodbye, Big Ben.
Goodbye, Big Ben. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah. And what we all thought was the lock of the playoffs as far as spreads, Philly and Tampa Bay, was not. I'll leave it at that. But, yeah, as in general, kind of a boring first weekend.
Yeah, other than that one.
Yeah, I was about to say Cincinnati and Las Vegas was somewhat entertaining just because the score was like close, but it really wasn't exciting till the end there. But moving on, we got, 8 games coming up this weekend? No, 4. Yeah, 4. I'm Crazy. 4 games coming up this weekend. Which one would you like to touch on first there, sir?
I want to talk about the Bengals and the Titans.
The Bengals and the Titans.
King Henry is making his grand return.
Do you think it's glorious?
I think they're going to win. Absolutely.
Really? So you don't think the Bengals are
I don't
a
think they
real
have a
threat to
shot.
playoffs?
Mm,
Really?
I just don't think they're ready. I
don't
think
think
that
they're
they're
ready
too
yet?
young. Their best players are all under 24 years old. Like I just don't think they're ready. They've never been here before. Yes, they've been in scenarios like this, but it wasn't in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think give them 2 years and I might take them as serious Super Bowl contenders. Maybe we'll see what happens, but I just don't. I think it's too like kind of like you're saying with me with South Carolina. Expectations maybe just a couple years too early.
Yeah, we can touch on that later if you want.
No, we don't have to do that. Irrelevant. But Ryan Tannehill has really been figuring it out down the stretch. And now that King Henry's back, they don't have to rely on him as much. I just think that
do you think he's fully healthy though? Do you think he's
Yeah.
ready to run?
I think that they've knew that they had an easy schedule being in the AFC South. They locked up the 1 seed without him. I think that they saved him until they really needed him, and now is now.
But you don't think that could affect him just having all that time off, not being maybe a little rusty?
No, I think he's gonna be fine. I think he's a specimen of a human being, and he's gonna. I mean, it's not like Cincinnati's defense is anything to be fearful of by any means.
You're not wrong. I mean, they got Trey Hendrickson, but he's really more of an edge guy, a rusher. Jesse Bates and Von Bell are solid, but they're safeties. I mean, they're good tackling safeties, but I don't think they're anything to really do much about Derrick Henry. But you also got to take into account, I don't think Tennessee has absolutely shit for Jamar Chase either.
We'll see, dude.
Let me put it this way. If this turns into a shootout, I think that favors Cincinnati.
Well, of course you do.
No, is that not the consensus? I think the more high-powered offense, in terms of a high-scoring game, would probably be, don't you think it'd probably be the Bengals?
Yeah, when it comes down to offense,
Yes.
I don't know. It just depends on what version of AJ Brown and Julio Jones we get it also.
Well, Julio Jones ain't scoring points. This is about winning games. So he literally has 0 touchdowns this year. I don't care how many games he played, but isn't that just insane?
It's funny.
It's hilarious. Not hilarious he got hurt, but he has 0 touchdowns, bro. He's allergic to goddamn touchdowns. Anywho, I think the Bengals personally get this win for obvious reasons. I think they're a legitimate threat. I don't want to say they could go to the Super Bowl, but I think they could go to the AFC Championship, play a really good game against whoever does go to the Super Bowl. So that being said, granted, if they play the Bills, I fucking think they can beat the Bills. I don't think they're beating the Chiefs a second time, to be honest. But if they do play the Bills, I think that's a possibility. But yeah, probably not. The Chiefs are probably – I won't touch on that. But yeah, no, I think the Bengals are going to win this game.
No, well, it'll be a good one. The line set it Tennessee -3.5.
Yeah, that's basically a pick 'em because home field is 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think I'm taking the Bengals there.
What game would you like to touch on next, sir?
Since I mentioned it a second ago, Chiefs Bills. Let's talk on that. The Bills coming off red hot. The Chiefs just the overall favorite in everyone's mind out of the AFC.
-2.
Mahomes. -2. They are the home field, so it means neutral site. The Bills would be the favorite. Is this Josh Allen's chance to prove that he belongs in the upper echelon of quarterbacks? I believe it is. Tre'Davious White is hurt, so I think that really doesn't help with the Bills just in terms of stopping the passing game. They do have a really good safety duo in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Also, I don't know if you knew this or not. Do you know Luke Kuechly has been working with Sean McDermott in terms of like
Coaching?
yes.
Yeah, I think I did hear something about him getting into coaching.
Yeah, and they went from being like the worst defense in terms of stopping tight ends to like one of the best.
Luke Kuechly's one of those guys was IQ comes with the talent. What made him so special.
I mean, one of the best.
Realistically, should still be playing. Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say that guy, talent-wise, was endless. He could be playing 15 years if he really wanted to, but injuries and health, obviously. And I think he made the correct decision with the amount of concussions he got. But anyways, on a lighter note, the Bills have been really good against tight ends. I think that could help in slowing down Travis Kelce. So, in my opinion, this is a very even matchup.
It's a pick 'em.
But
Like, in all reality.
I think I would have to lean towards the home team in this scenario. But I would not be shocked if the Bills pull this out. I think
I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I hate the Bills, so definitely want the Chiefs to win. That's going to be a really good game. That's a Sunday night game.
It is good. That's what it should be. Sunday night game for obvious reasons. Which NFC game? I'll let you pick the NFC game first.
I think Packers-Niners is going to be a really good game too. I don't think people are giving the 49ers enough credit for how good they really are. They have one of the better O-lines in the NFL. Deebo Samuel is like impossible to stop. Like if they just figure out that if you just fit like that, the beautiful thing about Deebo is you can get him the ball different ways. He can run routes down the field, up fucking up the field, like wherever he needs to go, he can get there. And like Mims was saying earlier, he could be a fucking running back. So like, and he's good for like. And when he's playing running back, I would love to see what his yards per attempt are. Like he's a freak. Like he's good for like minimum 5 yards every time he touches the ball. Time he touches the ball.
In the game against the Cowboys, 10 carries, 72 yards.
Yeah, like what's that? 7.2 yards a carry, right?
Correct.
Yeah, like what the fuck? I just don't know why they don't literally like. Kind of what the Titans do with Derrick Henry, just run your offense completely around him, basically.
Well, I mean, Elijah Mitchell has been really effective as well. He had 27 carries for about 100 yards. He had a touchdown as well. So
right. And
I think they complement each other really well.
I just think like when you have a guy so unstoppable like that, you force it to him. And then when they close in on him, that's when you fucking expose them somewhere else. You find out where like, I just think when you have a guy like that, you can't count that team out of any game. I think they could win any game. Like, really. I think, realistically, the Niners are capable of beating any team in the NFL on their best day. I
believe that as well.
Yeah.
Personally, I have them in the upset this weekend.
5.5.
I don't know how cold it's going to be in Wisconsin.
Like their points, but I'm not betting against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae at the end of the day because they're an explosive offense in their own right.
Yeah, but that is just that would just be like in my opinion, the typical Packers thing to do. Get that 1 seed and lose in the first round. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it would be hilarious and typical, but I don't think it happens. Not this year.
I don't know. The 49ers looked really good last weekend. Like I said, it was against in both of our opinions, a competently coached team. But I think the more talented team overall is the 49ers. And I think Kyle Shanahan might be the better coach than Matt LaFleur. Now, who has a better quarterback and who has a better overall weapon? Probably
the Packers have a better offense.
Yeah, but who has the better overall team? I would say the 49ers.
Wow.
So, you don't think that? I think their defense is better.
They won 3 more games than them. I don't know, dude.
On paper is what I'm saying. The 49ers have been injured all year.
I don't know if I can get on that train. I don't know.
They're still missing Javon Kinlaw, who's starting D tackle. Bose has been in and out of the lineup. Same with Dre Greenlaw. Fred Warner was in and out. They missed their defense is finally healthy this year or right now. So
I don't know.
I would not be shocked if the 49ers pull this upset off and we see them in the NFC Championship.
We'll see. We'll see.
I understand your train of thought not betting against what will probably be the MVP of the league. So that leaves us
Rams Bucks.
with Rams Bucks. So this game happened once earlier in the year. Let me pull up that box score right quick. Jeez. So the Rams won by 10 in their first meeting. In my opinion, it was probably more dominant than what the score showed. They really were in control of that game the entire time. Tom Brady looked frustrated. But the Rams took it to the Cardinals. The Bucks took it to the Eagles. These were kind of both of the favorites coming out of the NFC at the beginning of the season. So I'm really interested to see how this finishes up.
I just don't think you can base their first meeting off anything because it was in week 3. At that point, the Rams hadn't gone on their little losing streak. They hadn't even started to suck yet. They were looking like the best team in football. They also
didn't have Von Miller and Odell Beckham either.
I mean, they went on to lose 3-4 straight down the line. I mean, you just can't base that meeting off of what we're about to see. With that being said, I think it'd be stupid in all reality to bet against Tom Brady, but I'm doing it anyways because I'm a maniac and I'm tired. I want to see him go up. I'm kind of tired of it. He's not on my team anymore.
Oh, join the rest of us. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Finally.
I mean, that goes without saying. If he does win, I'm not mad about it at all. But at the same time, it's just like it'd be cool to see something new, I guess you could say. And I think Matt Stafford is hungry. I think he's been stuck up in Detroit. People kind of just forgot about him almost. Like he's just like, who the fuck cares about the Lions? You know, just a bunch of boy. I mean, when's the last time the Lions have been like a relevant football team? Like Megatron, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and he's been around that long. You know, like it's sad, and I think he's a good quarterback, and I think this team is ridiculous. Like so many superstars, like unreal how many
the name talent on this
brand
team,
name players,
talent.
That this team has. I think that if they come to play, that they're capable of beating the Bucks. I think Sean McVay is definitely capable of out coaching Bruce Arians. But we'll see.
By a mile.
We'll see.
By a mile. But are the Rams capable of overcoming Tom Brady? That's the big question.
And I don't know. I'm betting on it to happen, but I don't know.
At least in this scenario. I think they get it done. I think they're just a more talented team overall, with the Bucs being injured, with Chris Godwin being out, Antonio Brown, whatever. Leonard Fournette's been hurt. So it'll be interesting. I'm picking the Rams. That's just my opinion.
Voice?
I was opening up a snack. I apologize. I was trying to do it quietly. But anyways, so that finishes up our preview for this weekend. Let's move on to something we briefly touched on earlier. We were mentioning our tiers of quarterbacks. Me and him were kind of going back and forth on this the other day. So we kind of inspired ourselves from the Trill Withers show as well to tier our quarterbacks.
And for you all watching on YouTube, you can look at the screen as it's not our usual logo. We got our tiers pulled up here for you all to look at. It's a nice display. Do you want to start or should I start?
I'll start. So we kind of have the same
All right,
MVP.
this is serious.
Yeah, I'll say this is mine. So MVP caliber quarterbacks, I think, are pretty essential. Those are the 3 MVP candidates right now, as we stand. In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers won. I kind of tried to have these guys in somewhat order, just to kind of give you an idea of who I think is at the top of these tiers, but not really all the way down. Just who I give you an idea of who's at the top. So Aaron Rodgers I have the top because I believe he's the MVP favorite. Patrick Mahomes 2, and then Tom Brady 3. I think those are the 3 quarterbacks that have separated themselves from the pack clear as day. Like, I think that's obvious. They've all won Super Bowls. I think the only active quarterbacks on this list with a Super Bowl. Am I wrong? I mean, Big Ben's on here, but he's down there.
Yes, you are wrong.
Trash.
Russell Wilson has a Super Bowl.
He does. You're right.
Jimmy G has a Super Bowl.
Well, he didn't start in that Super Bowl, so in Jimmy G's case. But yes.
Carson Wentz has a Super Bowl.
He didn't start in that game either.
Well, he was the starter. I mean, he would have been the starter.
That is valid. But Nick Foles won that game. Anyways,
I wouldn't be surprised if Fitzpatrick has a Super Bowl, honestly.
Yeah, just as a backup somewhere.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, not going to lie. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's down there in the trash, but he's gone. So that's not to step on anything. But I mentioned it earlier. Josh Allen is probably on the fringe of being in that MVP caliber quarterback. If he can make his way to the AFC Championship this year, I would probably move him up to the MVP. But he's not there yet. I'm willing to give him one more weight on that. Joe Burrow is also at the top of that. I think just the way he's kind of changed the whole Bengals pretty much just downtrodden history. I mean, he got the first playoff win in 30 years, something Carson Palmer didn't do, who, I mean, went on to be a pretty good quarterback in Arizona after he retired. So, I mean, there's just really kind of changed that franchise, turned it around with the help of others, but still, he's been the face of that. Lamar Jackson, MVP quarterback, hasn't played up to, I mean, was kind of in the MVP conversation this year a little bit. Wasn't really his best year passing, but it was just kind of the identity of that offense as a whole. Like, if they didn't have Lamar, they lost games. So that's why I have him up there. Herbert, I think he's in that upper echelon of quarterbacks at this point. Russell Wilson hasn't ever received an MVP vote, but a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think he's really good. He's hurt all year. Not all year, but most of the year. And that kind of is what gave him the bad year, but I'm not willing to be out on him yet. Are you out on Russell Wilson yet? Or no?
I mean, no, I just think he needs a change of scenery. I think it's more Pete Carroll over there than Russell Wilson.
You think that's the case? Think Pete Carroll trick everybody?
No, I don't think he tricks everybody. I think he's just his best days are behind him, and he is got to be like 60, upper 60s, early 70s.
He's an older fella.
Getting to that age, Yeah, he's been around for a really long time. To the naked eye, I think it'd be safe to say that's a safer bet to assume.
Yeah, do you think? I mean, you got any favorites on where Russ might end up?
Russ is a really weird guy, so it's kind of hard to get a read on a guy like him. I don't really know what kind of scenery he would desire to be in.
You think it's a Dame situation where he just wants to stay wherever he's at?
No, I don't think he has any desire to stay in Seattle. I think he's run his course there. He got him a Super Bowl, took him to 2. I think he's good.
It's valid.
And DK is rumored to be on the trade market this offseason. So,
I mean, yeah, anytime he goes up against an elite corner, really, he gets kind of stonewalled. I mean, he cooks corner, like the second corner, but Jalen Ramsey stonewalls him. Tre'Davious White, granted, he's a little bit smaller, but gives him problems. Marshawn Lattimore, outside of one big catch, stuffed him this year. So, yeah, I could definitely see that. Plus, his value's high. I also have Dak Prescott because I think he's a really good quarterback. I think Mike McCarthy's just an idiot. Kellen Moore's a really good offensive coordinator, but Dak Prescott is I think belongs in this conversation, but towards the bottom of it. That's kind of why I got him down there. Kyler Murray also at the bottom, and Matt Stafford, just because, like Grant mentioned earlier, they had that slump. I don't know if I'm, willing to have him up there at the top with all those other guys who have just performed and really, elevated their teams as a whole, as opposed to the Rams, who've kind of been in this situation before, but this year they just look a whole lot more potent, if that makes sense. But as far as results, it's kind of been the similar. But bears some watching. Your thoughts so far?
I would have to look. I made my list, I think 2 days ago now. Let me see if hold on.
Yeah, you can flip back and forth.
Yeah, it looks like I have 2 discrepancies here. I don't think Kyler or Dak are Pro Bowl quarterbacks. But everybody else, you got the green light from me, my man.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, I knew our MVP calibers were the same, just because that was obvious.
Well, we'll get to my list later. But you carry on. I'm hearing you out, and I respect your opinion. I don't think you're wrong here. I don't necessarily think I'm right, but I just have a different opinion.
I know I'm not wrong. Don't worry.
Okay.
In the good, not great category here, I got Derek Carr leading off that section, just because I think he's really just kind of in a shitty situation. I don't think he's a great quarterback at all. I think he's kind of like the definition of, like, if you put weapons around him, he'll be a really good quarterback. But as far as weapons, I don't really know what he's got. And he's always kind of been in dicey situations as far as the Raiders. So that kind of is why I have him down there. Jimmy Garoppolo, like I said, I think he's an elite game manager. So I've kind of got him in that category, because I don't know if he's going to go out and break the game open for you, but he's definitely not going to go out there and blow the game for you either, I don't think, with like 3 interception games. Ryan Tannehill, and also in that same category, he kind of captained this offense to the 1 seed, but like Grant mentioned earlier as well, kind of a weak schedule as they played throughout the regular season, and being in the AFC South. You got teams like the Jaguars, Texans, and the Colts. The Colts got, hot there at the beginning, or like the middle of the year, but kind of cooled down there at the end. Tua's good when he's got his guys there, like Jalen Waddle and him have a real connection, and they've looked good there. Brian Flores being let go is just insane. But I don't know if I'm willing to put him in that upper echelon of quarterback yet. I got to see him stay healthy. Jameis Winston, also a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a great quarterback at all. Gave us 7 good games. Got to see if he can do it for a whole regular season. But I still don't know, even if he does that, if I'm willing to say he's up there with those other guys. But that kind of rounds out my good, not great. Serviceable, I think Kirk Cousins is out of here. He had some good years, but I think he's gone. Mac Jones, he needs weapons. And it's only his rookie year, and he's really good. He's the only rookie. As far as rookies, I have him top of the class for sure. That's why he's up there at the top of that tier. Matt Ryan, that's kind of where I got him, just as far as, like, he's not terrible, but his team is terrible, if that makes sense. Do you follow what I'm saying here?
I follow.
I was about to say.
To even imply that Tua has shown that he's, let's just see, 1, 2, 3 slots ahead of Mac Jones is preposterous and wrong.
You really think that?
Yeah, I do. I think that's ridiculous.
I think Tua is just in like a dice. Like, the Dolphins are just incompetent. But
okay, Mac Jones has worse weapons around him and took his team to the playoffs.
I think Mac Jones is a better overall team.
All right, whatever.
Tua was also out for half the year, and they should have made the playoffs.
Exactly. So how can he be in good, not great?
Because he's a good quarterback, but I just don't think he's great. I think Mac
Jones. That's exactly what Mac Jones is. He's a good quarterback. He's not great.
I don't think he's almost there yet. I think he will be there next year.
He's better than serviceable. He's definitely better than serviceable. That's all I'll say. You continue on. Continue on. This is your list.
Teddy Bridgewater, also serviceable. Just kind of has his in and out games inconsistent, but he does what he can. Trevor Lawrence just needs another year. Jared Goff is on the damn Lions, I think that just kind of bears watching. He was almost undefeated against the spread. That team is just absolutely – I mean, it was night and day difference when he was injured compared to when he was on the field. So I think that bears some looking into because that team was awful. They were picked not to win any games this year. Carson Wentz is serviceable in my opinion. He's had his up and down games, inconsistent. Justin Fields needs more time. Trey Lance, I mean, we really didn't see him, but in the one game, like I mentioned earlier, where he looked improved, he did look like he could possibly be in a couple years in that good, not great conversation.
Yeah, it would be unfair to put him in replaceables. You just got to stick him in serviceable.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, for some of these guys that just haven't really gotten a chance, like Justin Fields had Matt Nagy, Trevor Lawrence had Urban Meyer. I just really don't want to like just put them in replaceable when they haven't had a chance to do anything, except for one, fucking Zach Wilson. But we'll get to him in a second. But Jalen Hurts also serviceable. I don't know. I mean,
he's not gonna win your team a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
but
if Nick Foles can, I don't see why he can't. But like you said, I don't know if he can do it for a whole season.
I think they got lucky as fuck. In all reality, I think that was just like the stars aligned for like that team to just make it happen somehow. I don't think that it's fair to compare Nick Foles that season to any other quarterback in history almost. Like it was just a crazy thing. It was an enigma and it makes me angry. But continue.
All right. So irreplaceable, I got Taysom Hill. This is really not in order. They all just kind of just trashed me. Taysom Hill, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, all should be gone. Taysom Hill will never be a starting quarterback, like designated, besides injury, ever for the Saints, in my opinion. And that should just bear witnessing. I don't even know why he was even an option here, so I had to put him down there. But Drew Lock and Daniel Jones, I mean, Drew Lock was replaced by Teddy Bridgewater. So
rightfully so.
Yeah. And Daniel Jones, God, I can't believe he was the 4th overall pick. Or what was it, 6th overall pick? Sorry.
I laughed so hard when that happened.
We did. We were together when that happened.
Yes.
That was madness. Cam Newton, I mean, got picked up bench-wise. Ben Roethlisberger got chased out of Pittsburgh. Baker Mayfield should be gone. Browns fans need to let it go. Let it go. Okay? He's not that good. Chased Odell Beckham out of there for no reason. Now look at him in the Rams. He looked pretty damn good in his first playoff game.
I would credit Odell's dad chasing him out of Cleveland. He had to do it.
That.
He was tired of watching it. Something needed to be done to protect Odell's legacy. They were starting to slander our guy, you know?
They were. Andy Dalton, backup, duh. Sam Darnold, I mean, was replaced. Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt, but he's just like 49 years old. So I think he just needs to hang it up, man. Yeah. But love Ryan. Love Fitzmagic forever and always. And Zach Wilson, like just Jesus Christ. Like
hilarious.
Watch him play. I can't believe he got drafted 2nd overall over other quarterbacks. That is just insane and madness to me. But hilarious. Here we go with Grant's list.
All right.
My tongue as you did for me. But
all right. So as Mims alluded to earlier, we have the same top 3. I was kind of like Mims. First 3 are in order. Beyond that, not really. Aaron Rodgers, I have him first because I think he's just a more consistent guy than the rest of the Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. I just think no matter what, you can count on Aaron Rodgers to put up like 200 yards a game and just find his guys and make the right throws. Doesn't mean he's going to make the most like yards in a season or touchdowns necessarily every year, but like he's always going to be top 3. And that's why I think he's probably like the most valuable guy. Patrick Mahomes shown to be a tiny bit inconsistent, but like when it's all said and done, like we haven't seen him fail come playoff time. So there's nothing to knock him for as far as that inconsistency that we have seen. He's inconsistent in the times that you want to be inconsistent, and they always figure it out. He's great. Could be one of the best quarterbacks ever. Probably is. We'll see how that pans out, though. Tom Brady, don't need to really say much on the GOAT. I mean, he's literally the best football player we've ever seen. And it's kind of insane how long he's been doing this. Like his first Super Bowl, I was like
2001.
2001. The Mims was 1. I was less than 1. So like, yeah, it's just crazy.
And I can drink alcohol and like pay taxes. And, like,
Right. It's just insane.
Like,
It's insane. Like we'll never see anything like it again, ever. And I'm so glad I was alive to see it.
I
Anyways,
wasn't.
moving on to Pro Bowl quarterbacks, we got Justin Herbert. I think he's shown that he's kind of like I was saying about Joe Burrow earlier, who's also in my Pro Bowl category. He's just one of those guys that's here to replace like the Drew Breeses, the Phillip Rivers, the Ben Roethlisberger in his heyday. They're next in line. I think Lamar and Josh Allen, who are 2 other guys I have up here, also kind of fit into that category. I think like these 4 guys in particular are like next up. And I think we could see a lot of Super Bowls between all 4 of them. It's going to be fun to see, man. And then other than the young guys, we got Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford. Russ is just consistently great. He's had some down years the past 2 years. Like I was saying earlier, though, I would say that's more Pete Carroll's fault. When you look at the numbers, like Russ still balls, bro. Like he still gets off. And I don't think you can fault him for Seattle's troubles. I think they have a lot of problems defensively, and it's kind of hard to like.
And they've never given him a great offense.
All the weights, yeah, that as well. Their offensive line is like quite literally one of the worst in the NFL,
and consistently has been.
Yeah, right. And I just think he's tired of it. I just think he's spent his time in Seattle. He's been there for at least 8-9 years now. So yeah, he's definitely still Pro Bowl caliber to me. And then Matt Stafford, kind of like Mims was saying earlier, and I was saying, stuck up in Detroit forever, and now he's just like they freed him, and he's shown that like he really is like it's not like he's a young guy either. He's like 32 or something like that.
Like we mentioned, he was playing with Calvin Johnson, and that was
right.
like in his 5th year when they made the playoffs there.
Yeah, and I mean, we finally get to see him on a competent franchise and a good team, and he has pieces around him everywhere, and it's been fun to watch. I like it. So Matt Stafford's up there for me. The good, not great guys. Here we got Dak Prescott, who I think is a good quarterback. I just don't think that he's at the superstar that everybody treats him as. And I think Dak's like, I like Dak. Like,
do you think it's fair to say he's the top of that tier?
As
far as those 6,
him, Kyler, or Derek Carr is who I'd put at the top.
That's fair. Granted, I had those 2, like I said, in the tier.
And the reason literally these 3 in particular are here is inconsistency issues,
Oh, yeah.
Like Derek Carr has like all the physical talent in the world, could throw a ball 80 yards down the field, but like, I don't know, man. It's just like we haven't seen, like, he plays like the MVP sometimes, and then other times he's just like, I don't know, he just can't get the job done. But I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's great. I think this was like a really well made, like a tiered name, like good, not great. Yeah. I think this is like perfectly describes like all of these guys. Jameis Winston, you can't throw 30 touchdowns and not be a good quarterback. I mean, guy won a Heisman at Florida State.
He is a good 2, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, like he's a good quarterback. Like there's no denying that. And he was playing really good before he did get hurt. And that sucks, especially at his age, and a guy like him where he isn't like, he still has some shit to prove, I feel like. And
he was on a 1-year deal.
I feel like out of all these guys, Jameis definitely has gotten he needs his roses, bro. Like, we need to appreciate Jameis and like how good of a football player he actually is, because he is a good football player. Good quarterback, not great. Mac Jones, think he definitely could easily become that Pro Bowl caliber guy. Probably not MVP, but who knows? Maybe, I mean, the Patriots are just a perfect place for him to be, and that's what ends up happening. I don't think so, though. He's a good quarterback. He makes a lot of the right throws, and he's pretty fucking accurate. It was like through week 12 or 13 of this season, he had thrown the most, like, percentage wise, the most catchable balls in the NFL, which is stupid impressive to me as a rookie.
A lot of short throws.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. Gets the job done. Took us to the playoffs this year. Kid's got a lot of potential, and I think he's in the right spot. So look for him to definitely continue to get better, and maybe one day get up to that Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, as some of these guys will definitely go up eventually too, I assume. And then last, we got Tua. Speaking on what I said earlier, I just don't think we've seen enough for him to even really fairly categorize him in either serviceable, good, not great, or Pro Bowl. I mean, I think he definitely has the potential to be as good as a Pro Bowl quarterback. I just don't think we've seen it yet. And I don't think he's had I don't think he's in a situation right now to like give us the best of what he has to offer, if that makes any sense. I feel like the Dolphins don't really know what the fuck they're doing, and he's kind of in a shitty situation over there. But
yeah, that sucks. Like, they had Brian Flores, who looked like, I mean, when Tua was there, they were winning games. They were 1-7. They finished 9-8, 10-7.
And from what I've seen, yes, you're right. But yeah, speaking on that, from what I've seen, it looked like Tua really liked Flores as well, and he's kind of like rode with him on all that drama. So like, I don't know how long Tua's career plays out in Miami. We'll see about that, but I definitely think he's a good quarterback. Moving on to serviceable guys. This category, I just kind of looked at it as if these guys got put on a football field, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I wouldn't, my eyebrows wouldn't raise. So this is kind of how I took this serviceable category as. Try not to spend too much time here. Jimmy G, given the talent around him, I just think that like they should be looked at more dangerously than they actually are. I just feel like they're not taken too seriously. And I feel like a big part of that is because of Jimmy G, just because he does have inconsistency issues, and I'd say more so than Dak and Kyler do, and Derek Carr. So that's why I kind of threw him down here in the serviceable category. I think he definitely has the potential to be a good quarterback. I don't know if he is. I don't know. He's kind of a weird one. That's why I definitely put him first for a reason. And I put this guy second for a reason too. And it's not because I think he's the second best quarterback in this category. I just wanted to make sure that we all are on the same page that Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback.
And he could very easily be in that tier below.
Yeah, right. And like kind of like how I'm saying Jimmy G is like hovering right here. He's hovering down here. Okay. Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback. Let's get the facts straight. Let's put it on the table. Like Mims was saying earlier, I don't know what the Browns, I get it. He took you out of a dark, dark, dark place and brought you to a somewhat lighter place. But like when you look at your roster, he's the problem, dude. You got to move on. It might be a coaching issue too, but I definitely think if you're in Cleveland,
I mean, they made the coaching change as well, and it didn't work either.
Right. But yeah, I don't like Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Kind of like Jalen Hurts. We kind of put these guys in like the same tier of a player. If there was kind of like a one lower, I would put them here. I think Jalen Hurts, I love Jalen Hurts. It's hard not to love him. Got a lot of heart, and he tries, and was not expected to even be in a situation like this, to even be in this tier list. But he is. I just don't think he's it, dude. I think he's just kind of like kind of like a Teddy Bridgewater, kind of like even Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of guy, just kind of just sticks around for a really long time and doesn't do much. Just kind of that's how I foresee his career playing out. I don't see him staying in Philly too much longer.
He'll always have a job, but I don't think he'll ever take that next step.
And he's a serviceable quarterback. I think he's I think this is like the perfect place for him. I think this is like his ceiling. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I think he is a serviceable quarterback.
Jalen Hurts would be a vibe in the Falcons if Matt Ryan retires, and that was an option.
That would be interesting. But that does bring us to Matty Ice. Used to be Pro Bowl, if not MVP. I mean, yeah, he's definitely played MVP. He has an MVP. Took him to a Super Bowl that year.
Maybe should have won that Super Bowl.
I mean, dude,
didn't.
No, definitely not. But yeah, I mean, he's just old, man. Like Father Time cares for no man, and it speaks volumes when you look at Matt Ryan's play. I hope he gets out of Atlanta and maybe tries to make one more playoff push somewhere if he's even capable of that. But
like
I mean,
Denver.
it would be disrespectful to put him in replaceable. So I had to throw him in serviceable because he's really not a good quarterback anymore. But and it's not his fault. He's fucking old as shit. Like he's just getting the bag, and I respect that. So no shade to Matty Ice. Kirk Cousins. Yeah, like Mims was saying earlier, I think the gig is up. I think this dude needs to be a backup. I think he has no more business being a starter, but I would also like understand a team like a transition, like just like a 1 year rental kind of deal, you know?
A return back to the football teams would be
like he's
ideal.
You can put him on a football field and he's not going to be like these guys I have down here. Like he's going to be a little bit better than these guys. So that's kind of why I threw him in here. But yeah, no, I think, I mean, he's another old guy too. Like, God, I remember him playing at Michigan State when I was a kid. So yeah, better days behind him. Him and Matt Ryan, kind of similar scenario. Matt Ryan's way better though. Carson Wentz, I think he's in the perfect team right now, and we've seen what he has to offer. Like, I think Philly was another situation, like when he had what's his face? That
Frank Reich is the coach.
Frank Reich, yeah. And then I mean now
he's coach now.
Yeah, if we coach now. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. Like if a team's fielding him, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I'm not fucking scared of Carson Wentz. Like I don't think he's a good quarterback, not even close.
I think he can get you to the playoffs, but he's never gonna make noises.
Yeah, like he can play good, but he's like way too inconsistent to consider a good quarterback. Trey Lance, haven't seen enough of him. Trevor Lawrence, shitty situation this year. Not ready to call him bad or good at anything yet. Just gonna throw him there. Same with Justin Fields. These three, we'll find out in the next year and the year after that. We'll have a more definitive answer on where these guys sit. Ryan Fitzpatrick, been around forever. Can't put him in replaceable. Too disrespectful. Love me some Fitz magic. Same deal with Teddy B. We love Teddy B on this podcast. He might be a replaceable quarterback, but you know what? We'll never say that. And then Ryan Tannehill, to round out the serviceable. Just think that's a pretty perfect word to describe Ryan Tannehill. And that moves.
Lean on Derrick Henry as long as you can, Ryan.
Yeah.
Just lean on Derrick Henry as long as you can. You'll keep getting paid, man.
And that leads us to the replaceable category. All of these quarterbacks are garbage. And that's all of, yeah. Jared Goff, terrible quarterback. He had some rookie sophomore magic here when that Rams team did go and lose to the Super Bowl to my New England Patriots. But those days are gone. He's not it. He's bad. Taysom Hill shouldn't have
running back.
Shouldn't have to talk about him, right? The fact that he's even on this list is kind of funny. Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny Dimes. Like Mims was saying earlier, can't believe he went as high as he did in that draft. I get
To
it.
their credit, they stuck with him.
Yeah, and I get it too because like he's got the build, but he's not it. Big Ben, hate to put him here, but at the same time, I don't really give a fuck about the Steelers. Never really liked them, so I have no problem disrespecting Big Ben and putting him in replaceable. Dude needs to hang up the cleats. His time's
He
up.
did.
Did he retire officially?
I mean, he told everyone it was going to be his last year.
He said it was his last year, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Drew Lock, joke. Wasn't even that good in Missouri to my remembrance. Yeah, Drew Lock's a joke. Probably next Sam Howell's Drew Lock.
Right there, literally.
Yeah, next Drew Lock is Sam Howell. Is what I meant to say. Sam Darnold, I see ghosts. You suck. Andy Dalton. I mean, I think at one time he maybe could have been a good quarterback in the right situation, but certainly
He was
not
serviceable
now.
for a stretch, but yeah, now
no,
he's
certainly not now. He needs to hang him up as well. And then Zach Wilson is just hilarious. And we love Zach Wilson. We love the Jets. And that's mine. That's my quarterback tier list. And that's the correct one. That's it right here. This is it.
That's the correct one.
Yeah, this was like when this is like a test. This is the answer sheet. So like when the teacher grades them, they're looking at this in reference to what the children have handed in.
Okay, whatever you say, boss. But like I said, and we'll touch on Tua Mac Jones now that we've gone over our tier list. The only reason I have Tua there is because I believe Tua just, I believe he has more talent on his team, and his team had more of a ceiling. He was just hurt all year. If he wasn't hurt all year, I think his team could have been better. But they were, if he can stay healthy, I think
a good quarterback can stay healthy.
And plus, in my opinion, for you to be in that good, not great category, you have to be able to show you can do it for 2 years. So that's why I'm kind of waiting on Mac Jones. So that's kind of a next year opinion, if that makes sense. But also, a list came out. We love lists. And the list is the NFL All-Pro teams. So we're going to talk about these lists. And we're going to rank them. Or not rank them, excuse me. We're going to just talk about who got snubbed. Excuse me. No, sorry, it's a little late. But we are going to kind of like talk about who we think may have gotten snubbed, who we think they got right, and just overall how we're feeling. So first, starting off on offense. Quarterback, first team, Aaron Rodgers, MVP candidate, probably favorite. I think they got that one right.
No, I would have put Tom Brady there, but that's just me.
Really? I mean, of course you would have. Running back, Jonathan Taylor. It's valid. I think if Derrick Henry didn't get hurt.
Right. That's literally what I was going to say. And that is, yeah, they got that one right.
Yeah. Mark Andrews, a tight end. I mean, yeah, Travis Kelce, might have been the most talented tight end, but Mark Andrews played the best this year, for sure. Was like literally the only receiving threat for the Ravens this entire season.
And you have to kind of take into account the position of tight end does block. Like they have to block sometimes, and I'd say Mark Andrews is definitely better at blocking than Travis Kelce.
Probably one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL. Definitely the upper echelon of tight ends as far as like the best blocker. Not that he's the best
just all around
tight end, but as far as the best tight ends, he's probably the best blocker.
Right, and he can get downfield too now. Let's not get that twisted.
The receiving core they got, this is first team, by the way. The receiving core they got for the first team, Devontae Adams.
Correct.
Cooper Kupp.
Correct.
Deebo Samuel.
I'd say correct, but I could see the argument for a lot of other guys. But I don't hate
we'll touch on that when we go through. because we haven't even talked about the second team. The line we really don't know too much about just because we don't really watch a whole lot about line play, but I'll just list them to give them their roses.
Yeah.
Trent Williams, San Francisco. I mean, consistently has been one of the better not tight ends. We were just talking about tight ends a second ago. Sorry, tackles in the NFL over the last few years. So understandable. Tristan Wirfs, stud young guy from Iowa, playing in Tampa Bay. Second all-pro team, Joel Bitonio, Zach Martin, and Jason Kelsey to round out the interior. We got edge rushers listed as a position for the all-pro teams now, which is nice. So they got TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, which yes and yes.
Yes, correct.
All right. For interior linemen, they got Aaron Donald. Yes. And Cam Hayward, which I could see the argument, but I could definitely see a lot of other people possibly being here. And we'll touch on that again later. Micah Parsons, linebacker.
Yeah, he's got to get it.
Yeah, first team. I think that's interesting, though, because I think he'd be a way better edge, but I could definitely see they wanted to give him his roses, and you definitely can't replace him over
Yeah, because like guys like Judon did get snubbed because of this, but I mean, I get it. Like he is technically an outside linebacker, so
he plays a lot of coverage. I don't think Judon really plays near as much coverage as Parsons probably does.
I just think both of those guys deserve a spot, but it is what it is.
And then Darius Leonard and Devondre Campbell of Green Bay. Again, we'll touch on that. Corners, Trayvon Diggs. Ha. And God.
Yeah, no, that necessary. Continue.
That was potent.
Hate the NFL.
And then Jalen Ramsey, which yes. Jalen Ramsey is probably the best corner in the NFL, in my opinion. Your thoughts on do you think those two even deserve to be in the same conversation? I mean, we'll touch on that more later, but do you?
Fuck no.
Exactly.
Don't ask me a stupid question. What do you think I am?
It's madness.
It makes me angry.
I get it. I just think he's playing the wrong position as far as Diggs. I think he'd be a really good safety.
Of the season, J.C. Jackson. It is a fucking travesty, and it makes me sick.
This is the all-pro list. Don't get it twisted. The Pro Bowl hasn't come out yet, but yes.
Whatever, same thing. That's what I fucking meant. J.C. Jackson had an insane season, and we're going to look back at the all-pro team, and it's going to say Trevon Diggs, who allowed the most yards in the NFL in coverage. Unbelievable.
Then we got rounding out the safeties, Kevin Byard. And then Jordan Poyer. I mean, yeah, I think that's valid.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Kevin Byard had, I think, probably led the NFL as far as safeties and interceptions. Was up there in like total interceptions the whole season for all players. But I think he had the most as far as safeties. And Jordan Poyer has been standout for Buffalo and replacement of Tre'Davious White as far as leader in that secondary. So
yeah, I think valid. He definitely earned it. Yeah, he's a dog.
And then we can get down here to second team. We got Tom Brady, quarterback. For whatever reason, CBS Sports does not have a running back on here. But we can touch on that in a second. I mean, I think Derrick Henry would have been there. And if not, it probably would have been probably Joe Mixon, honestly.
Nick Chubb.
Chubb got hurt, though. Had COVID. Mixon was healthy for like most of the year. One of the two, either or. Receiver, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, the LSU guys. I think those are probably two of the guys you could have argued could have been up there with Deebo Samuel, along with a few others, and maybe could have been interchangeable.
They just weren't as impactful for their teams as Deebo was. That's what it comes.
Their teams weren't as. Yeah, their team. I mean, Joe Burrow gets the flowers for Cincinnati, so I kind of understand that. But Jamar Chase really kind of helped take that team to the next level. But definitely understandable. Deebo Samuel is the motor and engine of that offense. Like, definitely gets that thing going. So definitely kind of understand why he got the votes. But if you would have seen Deebo Samuel second team and Justin Jefferson, let's say first team, would you have been shocked?
Yeah.
Or Jamar Chase for that matter?
Yeah, Justin Jefferson shouldn't be there over Jamar Chase, in my opinion.
So you would have been shocked either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wondering. Travis Kelce, I think I said that earlier about tight end. Duh. Edge rushers, we got Robert Quinn, who had 18 sacks. That's hard to argue with. And Max Crosby, who I think was like top 3 in sacks as well. Like right behind TJ Watt, maybe. Or Myles Garrett, I think.
Just the next guys up.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that rounds out as far as edge rushers. I assume just guys who led the NFL in sacks. But interior lineman Chris Jones, who, I mean, in my opinion, kind of just got votes for – he's a good D lineman, but really wasn't his best year. Jeffrey Simmons, Tennessee. Demario Davis, who is the heart and soul of the New Orleans offense. Excuse me, not offense. Jesus, it is late. Defense. And he has been very, very, very important for that team all year. Roquan Smith, Chicago. Bobby Wagner, Seattle. J.C. Jackson and A.J. Terrell to round out the cornerback list for the second team.
Even A.J. Terrell is better, leaps and bounds better than fucking Trevon Diggs. I cannot
absolutely.
emphasize enough how
good.
Yeah, he's very good. Cannot emphasize enough how ridiculous it is that he's on that list. But
if Tre'Davious White was healthy, do you think he's on this list as well?
Somewhere. Probably not first because J.C.
Probably
Jackson,
in the second team.
Yeah, definitely second team. Definitely. Trevon Diggs has no place on the list. That's like the fucking thing here.
Yeah, I'm about to say he's keeping a lot of guys from making some money here, but that's okay. Get your money, Trayvon. 1 year's fine. Justin Simmons, Micah Hyde, and Budda Baker to round out the safeties list. Micah Hyde and Budda Baker had a tie.
I was about to say Budda Baker really arguably should be on that first team, but I see both arguments. Micah Hyde's team had a better season, in my opinion. So,
and then Justin Simmons, kind of the heart and soul of that Denver defense after Von Miller left, kind of helped keep that team together. So, any snubs as far as
J.C. Jackson, first team.
Any others?
That's the only one that I could even like. If my eyes start to wander around the list, and it just that one part of the list is so sore that I just can't help but just stare at it, and it makes me ill. It makes me ill. I hate the Cowboys.
I don't know how I feel about Devondre Campbell over any of the 3 linebackers on defense at all. Roquan Smith or Bobby Wagner. I know you can't see it, but yeah.
I would have to look at the numbers. I mean, I know Green Bay had a good season.
But it wasn't because of their defense.
Right.
No. So, I mean, it's because their elite quarterback and wide receiver and, offense, and their defense was good enough, in my opinion. I don't think it was because of any elite defender on that team.
Right.
Again, Tre'Davious White being hurt, I understand why he's not on here, but definitely, if he wasn't hurt, would be somewhere on this list. Any others that we're missing here?
Trey
Hendrickson maybe possibly could have been mentioned as far as edge rushers. Had 15 sacks this year.
I'm curious to see if we got the running back nod second team.
That is interesting. I wonder why they didn't have that. I wonder if they didn't have enough votes.
No, I'm not sure.
I'm about to look up all pro running back.
Well, it's really not all that important, but
now I want to know, and we owe it to the people that are listening to know this. Oh no, there isn't one. Which included 5. Yeah, no. So there isn't one. Something to do with the voting.
Just strange.
Yeah, so no. Because limiting of 1 vote to 1 per spot. So basically, the second running back didn't get enough votes. Damn, that's kind of trash. I think they should just have one.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if John Taylor was unanimous,
Who?
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Sean Taylor at first. I was like, wow.
I said John Taylor.
You're good. No, I definitely understand. I mean, I think he might have been. I think Cooper Kupp was one. Jonathan Taylor was definitely one. Just because, like, duh.
No, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, Cooper Kupp certainly. I want to
Did he
know
break the record?
What record?
The receiving yards record.
If he did, it'll get broken next year.
Do you think someone else will? 17 games.
Yeah, I think that extra game has a lot. I mean, yeah, definitely.
If you had to pick any threats to do it, who do you think would do it? He didn't. He didn't quite break it, but he had 1,900 yards. If you had to pick any threats to go for 2K, who do you think they are?
Hop. I mean, the obvious guys, definitely Devontae Adams, especially if he's still got Rodgers throwing him the rock. Wouldn't be surprised to see Mike Evans get 2K one year. Jamar Chase. Maybe Justin Jefferson if he gets a right quarterback.
Not with Kirk Cousins. Yeah, not with Kirk Cousins. If he was in the right situation, he could be in that list, but not.
I agree.
We could tier wide receivers next if we wanted to next week. That might be something fun we could do.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. 2K is a lot. You could say guys like Keenan Allen, but you got to take into account that, there's Mike Williams is on that team. They get a lot of looks to Eckler through the air. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think
you got to think
guys I
about
listed are probably good basis of the list, though.
Oh, yeah. You got to get 145 catches. That's what Cooper Kupp had, and he didn't even break 2K. So,
right.
Calvin Johnson did it, but Calvin Johnson is one of a kind. In some people's opinion, the greatest receiver of all time. Not this man's, I believe, Randy Moss. But I definitely understand why some people think Calvin Johnson could have ran up some numbers. He was just stuck in Detroit and just wasn't quite as cool as Randy Moss, sadly. But, yeah, that's really kind of all we got to talk about here this week. We got some games coming up. We'll be talking a little bit more when the Pro Bowl comes out. A little bit more draft talk coming up with the offseason and the draft order kind of a little more set in stone. We'll be able to talk about that. Maybe give you a quick preview into some early projections in our way too early draft board. And we'll just probably be releasing again next week. Grant,
yeah, I expect to see I'm that Cub back on soon here. I think he might be next episode even, maybe. We got a big fight ahead of us this weekend. Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou. It's two of the scariest men in the world. Just going to beat the shit out of each other in an octagon. It's going to be great. And we're going to have Jack back on to probably talk about that, some NFL. And yeah, I think Mims kind of touched up on everything else. Appreciate you guys for listening. If you've made it this far, yeah, tell a friend if you liked it. If not, still tell a friend, but don't tell them you didn't like it. Just tell them to listen. And yeah, I'll say goodbye here. And if Mims has anything else, I'll let him get that off. But other than that,
I got one last thing. We will be touching up probably with the All-Star break coming up on just who we think's been balling in the NBA. And that'll be coming up here shortly because we've been kind of slacking on the hoop talk with just a lot of stuff going on in the football world.
To be fair, hoops haven't really mattered as of recently.
Regular season basketball, it's kind of a foregone conclusion who's going to be in that top 5 seed. There's some slips here and there. But this is kind of where things kind of come down.
There's just more important shit to talk about.
Indeed. With playoff football going on, we have playoff college football going on. So we will be touching on that soon. But as always, thanks for listening. Subscribe as always. And y'all take it easy.